Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm gonna talk about making friends in the roleplay community. This community sure isn't going anywhere, no matter how much some people whine about just the existence of roleplayers. It's not gonna change anything, roleplayers will always exist. And most of them are pretty cool people, but I'm using the phrase most people very carefully. And role-playing on Facebook all in all shouldn't be a big deal, but as everyone knows, Mr. Zuckerberg doesn't appreciate it. So me making this video isn't gonna harm the roleplay community, in fact it's gonna do nothing whatsoever. Roleplayers will always be mad at the fact roleplaying isn't allowed on every platform. And non-roleplayers will feel bothered by the roleplayers. I'm not saying either of them are right, because I don't think that both are actually wrong. Because everyone has a different opinion on this topic, but what really matters, we should all try to come along, roleplayer or non-roleplayer, because we're all just people. If you feel bothered by somebody, simply unfriend them. It's that simple. Look away, turn away, leave. But that's not what I'm gonna talk about today. What I'm gonna talk about is, can you make real friends in the roleplay community? I have quite some experience with platforms such as roleplaybook.com, which doesn't exist anymore, I think, Twitter, Google+, which always used to be the most humble in my opinion, Facebook, Tumblr, roleplay.me, and some others I can't even recall. Let's face it, it's possible to meet some really great people in the roleplay community. So in general, probably yes. It's probably possible to make friends. But this is really just a bunch of toxic people thrown together with only a few exceptions? Probably yes. When trying to find friends in the roleplay community, you'll have to be ready to get disappointed over and over again, even if you constantly give your best. And this doesn't only apply to roleplay friends, obviously. Eventually you'll have to find someone who's willing to do the same for you, which is giving their best to maintain your friendship. Sounds pretty basic, but it's true. Not many people are willing to do that, but they do keep expecting the impossible from you. And if you're dumb enough to fall for that, it's not gonna end well for you. By the time you realize you've been used, they will already have you nailed down by constantly making you feel bad for them. And guilt-tripping you as if their life depended on it. Silently being mad at you when you don't feel like role-playing with them or forgetting to reply to their messages. That's when they start posting indirects. Which aren't really that indirect, since the people that it's directed at always end up seeing it. And the thing is, you won't always realize it's directed at you, and sometimes you just hope it isn't. But when those kind of posts occur, they are directed at you, you're in grave danger. It means they don't want to openly fight, but they're absolutely willing to take it to the public. In case you end up replying to their, most of the time, public indirects, so they can feel safe and protected by their other friends. They will probably have a lot of friends to back them up, if they feel confident enough to take their problems openly to their profile. And what do you do when you realize all of it is directed at you and you're most likely no longer desired? It's not always that simple, because you can never tell if they do want to save the friendship or if that's their way of getting rid of you. It's some people's way of triggering you so hard you have to say something. And when you say something, they can always pretend like none of that stuff was even directed at you in the first place. Sounds like basic friendship on social media, right? When that certain person stop talking to you but start talking to someone else on your timeline. Stop. It's not about you. I'm just done trying to get this girl attention. She's not even listening, so I'm just gonna give up on her, so yeah. Are you? Oh my god. And that's not about you either. I'll bet. But what? You're wrong. Like, what do these people want? If they're just insecure, fine. But why do others have to pay for it? Have balls. Girls and guys just have balls and tell someone to their face that you have a problem with them. In the literal sense, by the way, because if you call each other on Skype, you might be able to prevent the drama from getting worse. But not all roleplayers like to do that. I sure wouldn't like to, actually. In fact, I never did, cause it's a bit creepy sometimes, and you kinda always have in mind that you'll probably never meet those people in real life. So what's the point, really? If you really like someone and you feel you have a connection, it will probably feel right. And when it doesn't feel right, it's not right. It's just how it is. You don't have to trust everyone. Even if you're both roleplayers, that doesn't mean you're the same people and that you automatically have a connection just because you roleplay a similar character from the same movie or whatever, or game. Of course it's sad when you really like someone and they suddenly start posting indirects that can only be directed at you. I'm not talking about general indirects like, "Man, you're pushing me for replies lately, fuck off." It's more like this kind of shit. That moment when you do so much for someone but they just kick you off and keep on ignoring you. Who? Almost everyone on here. What have I done? Not you. Then who? I didn't actually cut out the ending. This person didn't even reply to the most essential question. Who the fuck is it directed at? Of course they can't say it out loud. In fact, sometimes they will even tell their other friends in private who they have a problem with. If you have a problem with someone, talk to them. It's not that hard. You can also just choose to leave. Stop bringing other people down with you. It's not right and makes others feel bad. And again, this also applies to basic friendship, like on pretty much every social media platform ever. Don't do that. Stop with the indirects. Nobody likes them. And most people around you will start feeling guilty for no reason. So the post was obviously directed at someone they have a problem with. And judging from the fact it's a public post, it's someone they're most likely not even friends with anymore. Which makes it even worse, because it makes others uncomfortable. And no one's gonna find out who it is about. And the person who this actually was directed at, I'm sure they had their reasons to kick this person off. Making something public that should stay between two people is toxic. It's disgusting, really. So if you're currently friends with someone who tends to do stuff like that, think logically. It's the type of people that expose you simply for stating your honest opinion on their behavior. For example, if you're brave enough to do so. You wanna go? You're the bad one, no matter how much you gave them or did for them. And that's even if you wanna end the friendship in a friendly way, cause they sure will come up with something to make you look bad. Eventually they'll end up claiming they gave you everything, and you don't appreciate them, you completely lost their trust. The list goes on, depending on how long you have been friends with that person. They're all gonna end up turning things around and blaming you for all the things they did and said, publicly. See, if you notice they tend to do that kind of stuff, like the guilt-tripping thing, it's easy to just think to yourself, oh well, but maybe it's not actually like this and I'm just being paranoid right now. No, if you notice you're not feeling well, you just have to stay true to yourself and go. You shouldn't feel bad about it, even if they try to get you back to publicly posting mean things about you, which happens because most roleplayers tend to do that. You shouldn't look back, and in the roleplay community it's one of the hardest things to unfriend someone. Because you might not always notice, but when you write with someone and create stories for months and maybe years, what's the real connection? Is it real friendship? Common interest? What is it? It doesn't always have to be friendship, even if you've known this person for years. And that's the most common thing. When you have been friends with someone for a long time, like years, then it's even worse, like even harder to end the friendship, because they most likely know a lot about you. It's a bit like breaking up. Girlfriend or boyfriend will start exposing you for all kinds of shit. So be careful who you trust. Those kind of roleplayers want everyone to believe they're the good ones. They wanna shine in front of their roleplay friends. And you can bet your ass they have a profile with hundreds of aesthetics. They don't even roleplay anymore. All they care about is a controlled, overseeable roleplay environment. And of course, they're gonna put something like this on their profile for pretty much all of the roleplay community to read. No drama here. What? Drama? No way. This is a drama-free zone. I'm a precious small bean with anxiety. I'm also trans. Also blocked Johnny, he's a meanie and steals my aesthetics I stole from Pinterest and slapped my name on. That's pretty much a basic bio nowadays. But shit, no drama? I can't actually doubt that. And guess what, shithead? Other people have anxieties as well. But they don't have to brag about it the whole day. Like they don't even specify what kind of anxiety they have. Just throwing the word out there like it's an excuse for their behavior. The whole thing seems to be no longer about friendship or finding friends, but much rather about promoting themselves. Gaining as many people gathered around them as possible, so they can feel valued and like they're not a role player, instead an actor or something. And yeah, it's wrong if someone steals your aesthetics. No one's saying you have no right to get mad over that, but instead of actually doing anything about it, they start whining about it to their friends, and ask them to report the person who they claim has stolen the pictures. Maybe it's right, maybe not, I don't even know. I guess if you spend a lot of time actually editing something, this kind of reaction might be justified. Still totally over the top though, and pretty unreasonable as well. Back to what I was actually talking about. Friendship in the roleplay community sure is possible. If you find yourself someone who you appreciate and they appreciate you back, good for you. But always make sure they're not just using you. Also make sure you're not using them. It's actually impossible to tell who's a good and honest person. You can just try and fail until you actually find real friendship and someone who doesn't make you feel bad for not constantly role-playing with them, for example. You should never feel bad after talking to someone, unless you actually did something. And if that isn't the case, it's probably them being possibly manipulative. Some roleplayers will keep you around if you make them look good, so watch out for those too. Aesthetics, that's all I'm gonna say. Aesthetics. And hey, you ever heard of Burn Book on Facebook? If you see someone discussing it, stay away. Trust me. Trust me. Maybe the best thing is to just keep those who you trust close to you and choose to be suspicious if someone new gets introduced to you. I'm not kidding, roleplay life is like the fucking Walking Dead IRL. Have a good one.